Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the Texas Agriculture Code, illegal parking, and side-by-side vehicles, and was originally uploaded by Red Oak Video Vigilante's channel, but also featured on Lackluster's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Guardio. Last year, the Federal Trade Commission announced that American consumers reported losing nearly $8.8 billion to online fraud in 2022, which is 30% higher than the previous year. Digital scams are more prevalent now than ever, and maintaining your digital security grows more important and complicated with each passing year. Guardio is a browser-based solution designed to help combat all sorts of emerging online threats, create a highly secure digital environment, and improve your online experience. Guardio acts as the first line of defense against phishing, malware, intrusive notifications, identity theft, and many more online scams. And it can detect and block them before they reach your browser and cause harm. They will also notify you in real time once your sensitive data is leaked so that you can take action right away, like changing all of your passwords before something bad happens. Guardio is also super simple to use. All you have to do is add Guardio to your browser and it will automatically scan your browser for potential threats and data leaks completely free. Once the scan is completed, you'll get a free 7-day trial to remove any existing threats and enable real-time protection. Not only does Guardio offer protection from scammers, pop-ups, and a host of other threats, you can also protect your entire family under one Guardio account, because one Guardio account covers 5 family members at no extra cost and at a super affordable price. Right now, Guardio is also offering members of the ATA community a 20% discount on their subscription when you click the link in the description. So go to guard.io/ATA and take advantage of your free scan and trial now so that you can enjoy a clean and secure online experience. Thanks again to Guardio for sponsoring this episode. On August 14th, 2022, Officer Matthew Pettit of the Red Oak Police Department was dispatched to the scene of a fire in the rural area of Red Oak, Texas. While en route to a nearby residence to ensure no one needed to be evacuated, Officer Pettit encountered several local ranchers, including the owner of Red Oak Video Vigilante's channel, Chris Moses, as they were attempting to move cattle across the road and out of the potential path of the smoke and flames. The interaction that followed was captured on Officer Pettit's body camera footage.
What are y'all doing? Move out of the way.
Hey, we're not out of here. Move the cow.
No, move your vehicles out of the road.
The cow got fire.
Okay, you stop the attitude. I need to block the road to move cows. The fire's not coming this way.
Is it not coming? You sure?
Yeah. I just came over here to
Because
make sure he wasn't
our
home.
cows were running back here. We had to cross them across the road. That's why we had the road blocked.
When you block off a road that emergency vehicles are using to get somewhere, that's my concern is the fire's going to get bigger if I can't get a fire truck or an ambulance or a brush truck through.
Yeah. The reason we had it shut down because we just got through moving the cows down through there and I just locked the gate. They're locked in there.
Okay.
You don't need nothing from us, do you?
No, I just need to make sure the road stays open. Because if any emergency vehicles come from Lancaster, if they need to bring water from Lancaster, and y'all are blocking the road.
Yeah, we didn't know if y'all wanted us to block them or not.
Nope.
Okay.
I need y'all to move out of the road. The fire's out, right?
They had a line just burst, so they had some hot spots come back. They went down to just one hose, but they're getting it fixed.
Okay. You're going to have to field a complaint. I just got into a screaming match with Chris Moses over there.
Good.
He decides he's going to block the road because he needs to move cows. And I said, well, okay, well, how's the emergency vehicle going to get through to put out the fire that's just going to get bigger because you decide you want to block the road for cows? He's got his vehicle in the middle of the road with his red and greens flashing. There's traffic backed up. So I ain't taking his attitude. I'm out. If he calls on.
When Officer Pettit recounts his interaction with Mr. Moses and the other ranchers to Sergeant Lockhart, he misstates the facts several times. For instance, while Officer Pettit claimed that the ranchers had blocked the road, the body camera footage shows that Mr. Moses and the other rancher stopped on the side of the street with plenty of room for other vehicles to move through. Additionally, Officer Pettit tells Sergeant Lockhart that Mr. Moses had red and green lights flashing on his truck, but the body camera footage shows that Mr. Moses has a small LED light bar near the rear view mirror of his truck. Finally, Officer Pettit tells Sergeant Lockhart that Mr. Moses had his truck parked in the middle of the road and was backing up traffic. And later, Sergeant Lockhart repeats Officer Pettit's story to his supervisor, alleging that Mr. Moses had his truck parked across the entire road while a fire unit was trying to get through. However, Officer Pettit's body camera footage shows that no other vehicles were attempting to get through while the ranchers were moving the cattle, and that, as we discussed earlier, the ranchers had parked their vehicles facing a proper direction towards the sides of the road, not in the middle of the road. After the interaction, Mr. Moses obtained the body camera footage and posted it to his YouTube channel, where he confirmed in the video's description that at no time when he and his neighbor were moving cows did a fire unit drive by, and that the ranchers were already gone by the time the fire unit came down the road.
I'm busy right now. What do you need? Chris, you're not allowed to block an entire roadway, okay? I don't know if you know that, but you're not allowed to stop, stand, park in the middle of the roadway. It's against the transportation code, okay?
To move cows from one pasture to another pasture.
To block the roadway.
That's right. That's right. To bring my cow.
I'm not having an argument with you.
I'll take it up with Chief.
Okay, call Chief, that's fine. I'm done arguing with you.
Sarge, that was bull crap. We were blocking the road to move cows.
All right, and where in the transportation code does it say you can do that?
What?
Where in the transportation code does it say you can do that?
You know that's BS.
The transportation code's BS. You're allowed to ignore it? That's what you're saying.
It's agriculture. It's different.
Okay.
It's different. It's agriculture. Go look up the agriculture code.
Sergeant Lockhart asks the ranchers where the transportation code says that they can block the road to move cows, and the ranchers respond that the agriculture code allows them to do so. Neither the Texas Transportation Code nor the agriculture code explicitly states that individuals are permitted to stop their vehicles on the road to move cattle. However, it does not appear that the ranchers violated any of the rules governing stopping, standing, or parking found in Section 545.302 of the Texas Transportation Code, which states that, quote, an operator may not stop, stand, or park a vehicle on the roadway side of a vehicle stopped or parked at the edge or curb of a street, on a sidewalk, in an intersection, on a crosswalk, between a safety zone and the adjacent curb, alongside or opposite a street excavation or obstruction, on a bridge or other elevated structure, or in a highway tunnel, on a railroad track, or where an official sign prohibits stopping. In addition, Section 545.407 of the Transportation Code states that, quote, an operator may not drive into or park the vehicle in the block where the fire apparatus has stopped to answer a fire alarm, or, quote, drive or park the vehicle where an ambulance has been summoned for an emergency call in a manner intended to interfere with the arrival or departure of the ambulance. Although this statute prohibits parking in certain ways that interfere with the emergency vehicles, as the body camera footage shows, the ranchers were not near the emergency vehicles responding to the fire while they were moving the cows. Finally, Section 12.03.001 of the Red Oak Code of Ordinances prohibits willfully obstructing any street, alley, or other public way. Now, while the ranchers' actions were willful, and it could be argued that they obstructed a portion of the road while moving the livestock, because they were not blocking traffic and the road remained passable, it seems likely that a court would not conclude that the ranchers violated this ordinance or any other parking laws. Now, as for the Agriculture Code, Mr. Moses cited Section 143.104 in the YouTube video description as justifying his use of the code to move cattle. The statute states that, quote, this subchapter does not prevent the movement of livestock from one location to another by herding, leading, or driving the livestock on, along, or across a highway. It is important to note that this statute does not create any affirmative rights or authorize individuals to violate the transportation code to move cattle. Rather, it simply states that the subsection of the Agriculture Code where it is located, which prohibits owners from letting livestock roam at large on the road, does not prohibit them from moving livestock on the road by herding, leading, or driving them. However, even though the Agriculture Code does not expressly authorize the ranchers' specific actions in moving cattle, since they did not appear to be violating the Transportation Code, a court would likely conclude that their actions were still legal. In fact, it appears that the ranchers stopped their vehicles in compliance with Section 545.303 3 of the Transportation Code, which requires that a, quote, operator who stops or parks on a two-way roadway shall do so with the right-hand wheels of the vehicle parallel to and within 18 inches of the right-hand curb or edge of the roadway. Although the statutes cited by Mr. Moses do not explicitly authorize the type of action shown in the body camera footage, the statutory language indicates that livestock can be moved from one location to another by crossing a highway. And since it does not appear that the ranchers violated any provisions of the Transportation Code, a court would probably determine that Mr. Moses and his neighbors were permitted to move cows in this manner.
The truck with complete attitude. Everybody around saw it.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to put up with that crap.
And I'm not going to put up with it either, Chris. I'm not going to put up with your attitude either.
Hey, I don't need the attitude either, all right? Leave it be. If you want to file a complaint, go up tomorrow 8 to 5, okay? Anything else I can help you with?
No, I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
It upset everybody. Everybody's mad because we were trying to do something that we got out with an attitude for everybody.
I got you, and we're trying to deal with something too, and you got the road blocked off. I'm trying to get Lancaster down here too, all right? So if it's a little bit high stress, could you understand? Like I said, come down tomorrow, file a complaint, okay? All right.
He filed a complaint all he wants. My job is not to take attitude from people that are telling me how to do my job. That's not my job. I don't care what he has to say. He was sitting in his truck blocking traffic. He's not moving any cows. I'm fine, but dude, I'm seriously, I'm not going to get talked to wrong by Chris Moses.
Then he comes up in here, he's like, walk away, I'm talking to him. He's like, no, you're not, no, that's not how this is going to go.
They're flying up and down the road on that side-by-side. They're not even supposed to be driving the side-by-side on the road. I guess that's agricultural code too.
When Mr. Moses and his neighbor return to where Officer Pettit and Sergeant Lockhart are standing, Officer Pettit claims that the ranchers are not supposed to be driving a so-called side-by-side on the road. A side-by-side, also known as a utility vehicle, is a type of so-called off-highway vehicle that Section 551A.001 of the Texas Transportation Code defines as a, quote, motor vehicle that is not a golf cart or lawnmower and is equipped with side-by-side seating for the use of the operator and a passenger, designed to propel itself with at least 4 tires in contact with the ground, designed by the manufacturer for off-highway use only, and designed by the manufacturer primarily for utility work and not for recreational purposes. According to Section 551A.051 of the Transportation Code, individuals generally cannot legally drive a utility vehicle on the road, although there are limited exceptions to the rule. Likewise, under Section 551A.052 of the Texas Transportation Code, quote, an operator may operate an unregistered off-highway vehicle on a highway in a manner authorized by this subchapter only if the vehicle displays a license plate issued under this section. Although it is not clear from the body camera footage whether the side-by-side has a license plate, Section 551A.057 of the Transportation Code, which allows for the operation of off-highway vehicles on a highway if the transportation is in connection with, quote, the production, cultivation, care, harvesting, preserving, drying, processing, canning, storing, handling, shipping, marketing, selling, or use of agricultural products, also states that, quote, an off-highway vehicle operated under this section is not required to display a license plate. Therefore, a side-by-side, such as the one used by the ranchers, is not required to display a license plate, so long as it is used for agricultural purposes. While the ranchers' use of the utility vehicle while moving cattle was likely agricultural, Mr. Moses and the other rancher also used the vehicle to drive to Sergeant Lockhart and Officer Pettit to make their complaint, and it is unclear whether a court would determine that Mr. Moses violated Texas law by driving on a public road.
Yes, sir. My camera's still on, but I guess Chris was, trying to help one of the neighbors move cattle, so Chris parked his vehicle across the entirety of staying back and blocked all the traffic, and we had a freaking Lancaster fire unit trying to get through. Then after all that was done, he came down here and tried to yell at Pettit again, and I was like, no, that's not going to happen. He thinks they have some sort of agricultural exemption that lets them block the road to get cattle across. No, he had his little, blues and greens or whatever, yellow and green, whatever lights he's got on it. He was blocking both lanes because I guess they were supposed to be moving cattle across the road. And the thing is, the fire truck wasn't there yet, but it was coming. So, yeah.
Talk to the boss.
I was just giving him a heads up.
That Redo talks about the blow up?
Yeah.
After the encounter, Mr. Moses obtained the body camera footage of the interaction and posted it on his YouTube channel. Lackluster also covered this interaction on December 7th, 2022, and he reported that Mr. Moses had filed a complaint with the department, but as of the date of his coverage, he had yet to hear back. In the video description, Mr. Moses wrote that he spoke to a state trooper in the same county and a Texas livestock agent about the situation. Mr. Moses asserted that both the state trooper and livestock agent told him that he, quote, did nothing wrong, and that, quote, the officer did not use common sense in this case and seemed to have a chip on his shoulder. Mr. Moses' YouTube channel includes other encounters with the Red Oak Police Department, and the channel's description includes a statement claiming that Red Oak officers have, quote, harassed, annoyed, and belittled him multiple times. In October of 2022, just a few months after this interaction, the Red Oak Police Department posted on their Facebook page that Officer Pettit was named Officer of the Quarter for his, quote-unquote, attention to detail and his, quote-unquote, consistency and performance. Overall, Officer Pettit gets a C. Because although he did not wrongfully arrest or cite Mr. Moses and the ranchers for their alleged violations of the law, he demonstrated a lack of comprehensive knowledge about the Texas Transportation Code, conveyed a completely inaccurate version of his interaction with the ranchers to Sergeant Lockhart, and maintained a hostile and unprofessional demeanor towards the ranchers throughout the encounter. Now, although I cannot say for certain that Officer Pettit intentionally lied to Sergeant Lockhart about the ranchers' actions, his story is clearly contradicted at multiple points by his own body camera footage, and it would not be a stretch of the imagination to conclude that he, at the very least, allowed his interpretation of the situation to be biased by his seemingly negative opinion of Mr. Moses. This interaction demonstrates why it is so essential for officers to focus on facts rather than feelings when dealing with citizens, and to accurately recount information to other officers. Mr. Moses gets an A for defending the legality of his behavior, obtaining and sharing the body camera footage after the encounter, and filing a complaint with the department. While it is possible that Mr. Moses may have used the side-by-side for non-agricultural purposes when he drove over to speak to Sergeant Lockhart, for the most part, it seems that Mr. Moses and the other ranchers stayed within the boundaries of Texas law while moving their livestock to a safer location, even though they may have been justified in taking more drastic actions given the exigent circumstances. I commend Mr. Moses for having the courage to not only file a complaint about this encounter, but also to share his various experiences with the Red Oak Police Department on his YouTube channel. And I hope that with time and officer education, the relationship between Mr. Moses and the department can become a more positive one. Let us know if there is an interaction or a legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.